So today we're going to go over sequences in arena simulation software. The goal of a sequence is to have a set of processes and have separate parts go through separate steps in the process. So we'll have one part that goes through the first, second, and third process, a second part that goes through the third, second, and first process, and a third part that goes through the second, first, and the third process. So it's just the order that the pieces go through the process system. So we'll start out with 3 create modules. So we have those right there. And then after the create modules, we will put 3 assign modules. Okay, so then we go ahead and connect these ones. Okay, so we'll call this one part 1, part 2, and part 3. So to try to create a simpler simulation, we're going to go ahead and keep the arrival times the same. And this will make sense later when we're going to be testing and validating the system. Okay, so after we get the assign, and we'll do the assigning later in the process, we're going to do a route. And this facilitates the transfer of the parts throughout the system, or simulates the transfer of parts throughout the system. And we're going to do no routing time for this one, just to make the simulation a little simpler. Okay, so after the route, we need somewhere for the route to go. So we're going to put in 4 stations total, 3 for the processes, and then 1 for the decide and ship section. Okay, so there is that. So we have those. So let's go back to the basic processes and get the decide module. So we have that right there, and then from the decide we'll get a dispose. So that dispose right there is going to be shipping, and we're going to do a 95% acceptance rate through all parts that go through the system. So we have that, and then one more dispose, which is going to be the 5% for the scrap. Okay. So we have that. Let's go ahead and connect that last station. So now let's introduce the processes themselves. So we're going to have 3 processes. Delete those. And then for the advanced transfer, we're going to need a route so we can move these around to the other stations. Okay, let's go ahead and connect all of these ones now. Okay, so we got all those connected. So here's going to be the first part that's different in with sequences. So we go ahead and click on the route right there. Go to the top of the route. So normally this you would decide and pick a station for the route to go to. So you would say that route 1 went to station 1, then route 4 went to station 2, and in a linear fashion it would travel through from stations. But now we're going to use a set sequence. So now we're going to pick the sequence section under destination type. Okay, so now we have all the routes selected to sequence. So now these will set the follow the assigned sequence. Okay, so let's go now in advanced transfer and go down to the sequence itself. So because we have 3 parts, we're going to have 3 sequences. So 1, 2, 3. And we'll go ahead and name these. That naming will be important in assigning them later. So we have part 1, or P1 for short. And you have to be careful to get the same notation no matter what you're doing, so be cautious of spaces. So we have named these P1, P2, and P3. So part 1 we're going to assign, and there's going to be 4 stations, so we need to set an order of 4 stations. And right now, so this will follow whatever station set in here. So right now it goes from station 1 to station 2 to station 3 to station 4 for disposal. So this will be an easy one. So we have that one already set. So the next one we're going to do again 4 stations for all the stations in place. But this time we're going to go from station 3 to station 2 to station 1, and then we have to go to station 4 for disposal. So we have that in place. And then now for the last one, again 4 stations. Okay, so we have let's go to station 2, and then to station 1, station 3, and station 4. Perfect. Okay, so now we have these stations defined, or the sequences defined by name. So we'll be able to call these. So when we call a sequence P1, it'll follow the path station 1, 2, 3, and 4. So let's go ahead and do that. So we have it here in the assign. So we go assign, and then we go attribute, and then we go entity sequence. And then our sequence we call P1. Okay, so there we go. And then that correlates down here to the sequence module of P1. So we assign sequence P1 to part 1, and it's going to follow the sequence station 1, 2, 3, then 4. Okay, so let's go assign another thing, or a couple more things in here. So let's add a entity picture. This will be important later so we can see a difference between those. So there's widget. So we'll have that. And then also while we're here, let's go ahead and assign the values for process 1, 2, and 3. Okay. So process 1 is going to be machining. So we'll have the attribute name machining, and then we'll give it an exponential distribution with a mean value of 4. So that's the machining variable. So let's add another one. This will be for the lathe machine. So we go attribute, and then lathe, and then we'll do an exponential distribution with a mean of 6. And finally, we will do another attribute for a drilling process, and we'll call it drill, and we'll do an exponential distribution, and this will be a short one, so exponential distribution of a mean of 2. Quick process. Okay, so there we go. We got everything we need. We changed the picture, assigned the sequence, and then assign the distributions for the processes. So let's go ahead and name these processes over here. So the first one is machining. So machining. Okay, so we have that one. We're going to seize, delay, release. And then we will do the expression, and we just defined it over there as machining. Okay. So, and we'll change this to minutes too to help it function better in the system because it's the student edition. Let's see, did I not add my resource? There we go, perfect. Okay, so lathe, seize, delay, release. Let's add our resource this time. And then we will do expression, LATH, and we'll do minutes. Just double check that I spelled that right. And yes, we did. That is how I assigned it. Okay, so one more. We'll call this one drilling. And we'll do seize, delay, release. We'll add our resource. And then we'll do expression, and it's going to be drill. So there we go. So we have all of our processes named, and we have the first assigned variable done. So now we just have to assign these last 2 variables. So first, let's get the sequence, attribute, entity sequence, and then the sequence is going to be P2, and that follows the second sequence you defined of 3, 2, 1, 4. Okay, then let's go ahead and change the picture so we'll be able to see it when we run the model. So go entity picture. We did the first one as the widget, so let's just do the truck on this one. Okay, and then let's go ahead and define those three variables. So go attribute. We go machining, exponential distribution with a mean of 9. Okay, then we add another one. So we go attribute, go lathe, exponential with a mean of 6. Add that final one. So an attribute of drill, and then exponentially distributed with a mean of 3. Okay. So we just need one more time now for this last assign for part 3. So let's just go through that process again. So we need a attribute and then sequence, and this sequence is going to follow the last one. So P3. Okay. So let's add a photo for a picture for it. So we go entity picture, and then we did the truck for the last one, the widget for the first one. So let's do the telephone. And this is just so we can see the difference, so we'll be able to tell when we run the model. Okay, so let's add another one. So now we need the attribute for the 3 processes. Okay, and so we will do machine, and then we'll do exponential with a mean of 10 minutes. And then we will do another attribute, and we'll do the lathe, an exponential distribution with a mean of 8 minutes. Okay, let's add that final one. Attribute, the drill, exponential distribution with a mean of 4 minutes. Perfect. Okay, let's just go ahead and take a look at this. So we have the sequence set up, we have the picture changed, we have the 3 attributes. Let's double check for each one. So sequence, yep, got that, looking good. Got that, looking good. Okay, perfect. And then so we define the attribute over here for each one. We have it in minutes. Perfect. Oh, there we go. We had one in hours. So let's fix that. So we got that back to minutes. Okay. So in a normal simulation, you go ahead and do run and go to the setup and set up your parameters. But we're here to really just show that we can send it to different sequences through the station. So let's go ahead, turn this down, run it. Hope I didn't put any bugs in here, and see if it runs. There we go. I mean, so we have it running, but that's a little confusing. So it should be running through the correct processes, but let's do some validation to double check that. Okay, so let's stop it, and then we'll go to this. So I think a good way to validate it would be to get rid of these creation modules, and then we can see each one going through the path it's supposed to. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. So we have that. We have the sequence as P1. So we're calling sequence P1. Let's take a look at sequence P1. So sequence P1 is station 1, 2, 3, and 4. So what we should see is a widget, which is a little screw, go through here, go to station 1, 2, 3, and then finally 4, and dispose. So this should work. So let's test it out and see if it works like it's supposed to. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Perfect. So that one's running correctly. So let's stop that, and then let's move this down here. Let's move this down here to this sign and check out this one. So this one is P2 and the truck. So let's go back to the sequence. P2 is 3, 2, 1, 4. So it should follow the path of 3, 2, 1, 4. So we have it hooked up, so let's go ahead and run it. So there's the truck, 3, 2, 1, 4, and then it ships 95% of the time and scraps another 5. So that's perfect. Okay, and let's just do it one more time, just for we can assure ourselves that it's working properly. There is that. So let's go double check this. We got P3 in the telephone. So sequence P1, P2, P3. P3 is right there, so it's supposed to go to station 2, 1, 3, then 4. And then the picture is the telephone. Okay, let's go ahead and run it. There we go. 2, 1, 3, 4. Perfect. So let's go ahead and put those modules back down in there for the create module so we can finish this up. They all have the same original arrival distribution, so we can just put them in there like that. Now let's turn the speed up a little bit. See it run. There we go, guys. So that is the lesson today. It's going over sequences. Just to go over a quick summary of what we did, we turned all the route modules to a sequence function. we defined a sequence for each part. We assign that sequence to the part, and then the part now follows the sequence path we defined. Well, I hope this helped, and have a good rest of your day.